Sivaranjani. I'm a yoga and Pilates practitioner and instructor. I'm also the owner of Svadhyaya Yoga and Pilates Studio. So today we're going to talk about intermittent fasting. There are a lot of questions that my clients usually ask about intermittent fasting or a surefire way and safe way for weight loss. So having gone through a lot of different diet phases and tried a few of them, not all of them, I've zeroed in on the intermittent fasting. So that is actually kind of a safer and 100% guaranteed way to lose weight and keep your BMI down. So I'm going to cover what is intermittent fasting, what are the types of intermittent fasting that can be practiced. So in intermittent fasting, you're not really skipping any meals. The person is going to take all the 3 meals. Just the time duration during which the person is going to eat is restricted. So there's a fasting window and a feeding window. So the amount of hours you spend in the fasting window will keep increasing in different types of this fasting. So the type 1 is minimum 12 hours of fasting period and 12 hours of feeding period. This is the safest and very advisable for a beginner to start. This is very easy. The person can finish their dinner around 7 p.m. in the evening and then can start eating 7 p.m. the next day in the morning. Or if you have finished your dinner around 8 in the evening, you start 8 in the morning the next day. Nothing in between. And the best part here is 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours of this fasting period is spent in sleep. So just 5 to 4 hours of fasting that needs to be done. So this is pretty easy to follow for a beginner, and the minute the body is fasted for 12 hours, the body mechanism turns to another source of energy, not the carbohydrate source which it is used to. It goes for another source which is nothing but the fat reserves in the body. So if you see after 30 years, most of the adults have the metabolism coming down. And our calorie intake should just be enough to maintain as a maintenance calorie intake and not grow. The growth phase is long gone. So one needs to only take the maintenance calories, and even if they are under the maintenance calories, sometimes the body's metabolism comes down after 30 years. So in order to activate and teach the body to go for the other source of energy which is available in the body, fasting is recommended. This is recommended in almost every religion there is. Fasting is recommended as a control of your mind and control of your body. Because sometimes eating itself can become an addiction. You eat when you're stressed, you eat when you're bored, you eat when you're having fun. So eating becomes part of every activity in an adult's life. So to control eating, that itself needs some kind of mental willingness. So just that actually tests your willpower. So that's very beneficial. And then second type is 14 hours of fasting, 13 to 14 hours. This is very much recommended for women especially, because sometimes going into a 16-hour fast can get in the way of the monthly cycle, the menstrual cycle. So a lot of women have disturbances in the menstrual cycle depending on the age. So it's always safer for women to practice 13 to 14 hours of fasting, which is very good, either there or here. Okay, so just right for the body. And if you're comfortable and if nothing goes wrong with any other cycles in your body, you can go for a 16-hour fast and 8 hours of feeding time. So you're not really skipping meals. You can eat, but what you eat in that 8 hours or the 12 hours is very vital. You need to eat nutritious meal, you need to eat healthy meal, you need to still keep your calories in check, the recommended calories for your body. You also need to make sure you're not overeating, trying to load up for the fasting period. Then the fasting period doesn't make any sense. You're just torturing yourself by fasting and then overeating in the feeding period. And make sure you're not eating too many sugary drinks, processed food, oily food, high calorie food which has less nutrition, Otherwise, none of the food groups are restricted. You can have as many meals in between as long as the calorie content is in check. And you can have lots of water. You should be avoiding oily foods, like I said, processed foods, any white foods. I'm not saying you have to avoid rice, I'm saying white foods like maida and skimmed milk and not full fat milk. You need to be still on top of your diet. Doesn't mean you can eat anything during the 8-hour feeding period. Okay, so these are 3 ways you can follow intermittent fasting. So the beginner can start with 12 and gradually up and come to 14, and probably stay there in 14 if you're comfortable, or push a little bit towards the 15 and the 16-hour period, and only if your body agrees with it. So how does it work? So this, is it bad for the body? No, it is not. You're not really skipping any meals. You're not really letting go of any food groups. You're getting all the nutrition there is. So it's only about eating healthy during the period and not eating during a specific period. So how does it change the body? It helps in improving the growth hormone. So what happens is body starts metabolizing, looking for more. So as a growth hormone, you might ask, I'm an adult, I'm already grown, how can I grow? It's not about growing, it's about the organs in the body, again, revitalizing themselves. They grow new cells, they shed the old ones, so they become new, like the liver every 15 days, something like that. They keep on making new cells, and they also, it's anti-aging in nature. Any inflammation in the body, this kind of fasting takes care of it. Also, it is very good and advised and being followed in cancer patients. It is very helpful in destroying the cancer cells, and is very good for cardiac patients, and increases the metabolism, like I've already told, longevity of the person, and in women especially. It's very good to even regulate the menstrual cycle as long as the fasting period is kept to a minimum. And there's a myth or a thought that thinking this is not safe for the pregnant women. It's perfectly safe. You need not go into the 16-hour fasting period. You can keep a safe 12-hour fasting period, which is safe and recommended for pregnant women in order to not add on extra weight. So a pregnant woman normally needs 300 calories more for the baby per day than her usual intake recommended for her. So it's just 300 calories, which you can do it in the 12-hour feeding window, and doesn't need to be kept on eating throughout 24 hours. There's a wrong conception that you have to eat double. No, baby which is growing is not as big as that. It needs just 300 calories more. So that can be very easily done with a 12-hour fasting period. So this fasting is that safe, intermittent fasting. So I strongly recommend intermittent fasting to everybody. So what actually happens in the feeding window? The rules that are told: you have to eat nutritious food. You have to eat only healthy recommended food. You can't overeat. And try to avoid oily foods, fried foods, high calorie foods, and white foods like the maida, the bread, and all that kind of processed food. You can have water and green tea. A lot of people have, and during the fasting period, what can I have? That is one of the popular questions that come up. So I can't have anything. No, you can have lots and lots of water. But make sure you don't add any lemon or honey to it. Probably add a slice of lemon to the water, not squeeze the lemon, so that you get kind of a taste to drink the water. But still, please don't add any honey. And then you can have green tea if you're a fan of it. If you're a person who doesn't like it, it's okay. You don't have to have green tea. But there's a lot of people that think they can have black coffee without milk. Yes, without milk and sugar. Yes. It can be had because it's negative calories. As you know, all the caffeine related drinks have negative calories. They dehydrate you. So it's allowed, but I personally would advise against it. So having a coffee, especially black coffee, on an empty stomach might create issues in the future like the acidity, like ulcers. So it can really disrupt your system, the digestive system, and probably will not allow you to proceed with the fasting on a long-term basis. So, I personally don't like to recommend black coffee during the fasting period. So you might think, how long should I fast? So once I achieve my ideal weight, which I want target weight, should I stop? No. You can probably say if you started a 16-hour fast, you can gradually reduce it and go back to the 12-hour fast, which is very, very simple, and you probably won't even notice your fasting. So you can just stay in the 12-hour fast, maintain the calories, and then stay there. So you don't need to, you can just make it a part of your life, like you get up, you brush your teeth, you have your bath, you eat and sleep. So this can also be part of your life. You eat at a certain time, you don't eat all the time, and you eat nutritiously. Make it a part of your lifestyle, and then it's not so hard. Once you've reached your target weight, stick to the 12-hour fast. So why is this fasting recommended more than other fasting? The other fasting or the diet plans, they usually ask you to skip a food group, which I am personally very much against, especially skipping the carbs. It's not something I would go for, because carbs are needed for your brain activity. So probably doing that for a long time might get in the way of your brain functioning. Probably the cells in your brain might not get the nutrition needed and die, and probably you will have an early onset of the Alzheimer's or any other brain related diseases. So in the long run, nobody knows how it's going to get affected. It's strictly not acceptable. And in the intermittent fasting, the thing is, the best part is it even activates your brain, makes you extra alert, increases the capacity of your brain. So you must have heard of a lot of sages who constantly fast for long days, months, years together to achieve the higher consciousness. That's because more cells in the brain open up and they're able to understand the universe than a normal person. So in a way, you're opening up a lot of cells, you're activating a lot of your brain cells, and good, recommended. So, and in other diets like the keto, they are only concentrating on the fat. So that can't be good in the long term, as your cholesterol level increases eventually after you reach your target weight, probably till then. And there is a process called the ketosis, which can really affect your kidneys if you go past a certain zone. So in fact, people tend to find whether they have reached the ketosis by checking the color of the urine. So if the color of the urine is literally a very, very dark yellow or going into the orange range, that is something acceptable in keto, but I would personally not recommend it, very much against it, because it might go either way for a lot of people. You might damage your kidney, so that is something I wouldn't recommend immediately. So the GM diets are all good, but the thing is they might be a little, hard to follow, a lot of rules, a lot of preparation going on, and in a family of people with different diverse likes and dislikes, it might be hard to follow for a longer time. So what is the other advantage with this intermittent fasting is you don't need a diet chart. You continue with your regular diet, just make sure you're eating healthy and nutritious, and you just fast. So it's simple, even working women can follow this. They don't need to sit to a particular chart and prepare something especially for them and something for the rest of the family, which is not practical. So it's better to avoid such things. This is a easy diet, no second thoughts. Just follow the timings of your feeding and then you're done. So the usual recommended thing is 12 hours of fasting, and people even go up to 16 hours of fasting, depending on how comfortable they are with the fasting. Okay. So the other things you need to keep in mind, some of the points I've jotted down are, you can, what are the other things they eat in the fasting window? You can have cinnamon water, a little bit of rock salt, pinch of rock salt and cinnamon water, that is fine. But again, if you're diabetic, if you're having any other conditions which doesn't allow you to bring the sugar level down too much, So you can stick to a 12-hour fast and not drink the cinnamon water, because cinnamon can very easily bring your sugar levels down. So that is something you have to avoid if you're diabetic, and stick to only the 12-hour fast. And if you're eating protein, make sure it's a lean protein or not heavy fat protein. If there is fat, please take off the fat part of it and only have the protein. And when to work out, that's one more question that comes up often. When do I work out, during the fasting period or the feeding period? It is safer to work out during the feeding period for most of us, but sometimes make sure you're not in that heavy, your stomach is not totally full. That can be a challenge. So you can work out probably at the start of the feeding period or just at the end of the fasting period. It's up to you. So I like to work out in the morning as soon as I get up. So again, that depends on how your body feels, when your energy levels are high during the day. And you need to rest well. Make sure you're getting the 7 to 8 hours of deep sleep. And in case of a stressful situation, or if your person gets stressed up very easily, or your lifestyle is one which can be stressful, then you need to take extra measures like breathing practices and other things to bring down the stress, so that you will be more comfortable during the fasting period and the fasting doesn't add on to the stress. Okay, so who should be avoiding this kind of fasting? The contraindications, the first people who should be avoiding: people with low BP, they can't be going without food for a long time; diabetic people, the diabetes, the beginning stages are fine, for chronic diabetes and diabetes are out of control totally, and people who are nursing, and anybody with eating disorders like bulimia. Such people should avoid fasting. And people who are already underweight, who have fertility issues, or insomnia. So such people, fasting can make sleeping even more difficult. So any kind of fasting is not recommended for them. So please make sure you follow all these rules and benefit from intermittent fasting and have a good lifestyle, healthy lifestyle. Hope this video was very useful. And if you have any doubts, please leave your questions in the comments below, and I will make sure I answer to my best of the ability to all your questions. And currently I'm not taking any classes at the studio, so it's only online classes on Zoom or any other platform which is comfortable to you. So in case of any details regarding classes, please contact 9500068224. So have a nice day. See you in the next video.